Every morning, the small town's bus stop becomes a quiet place of routine for the commuters waiting for their rides. But amid the usual bustle of people, there was something different that drew attention. A puppy no more than a few months old had made a daily ritual of sitting at the same bus stop, gazing down the road with an unwavering focus. His fur, though soft and still in its puppy stage, was a little dirty, and his eyes, filled with sadness and hope, looked out into the distance. People noticed the little dog and some even offered food or kind words, but he would remain in his spot as if waiting for something, or someone, specific. The strange routine went on for days, then weeks. The puppy, despite being clearly abandoned, never wandered far from the bus stop. At first, some of the people who saw him assumed he was just a stray, maybe lost or wandering from house to house. But there was something in his behavior that seemed different. Most strays are seen searching for food or shelter, but this little one seemed to have a purpose. He didn't beg for attention or food like other dogs. He simply waited. At first, no one knew his story. But one day, a woman named Clara, who had seen the dog almost every day on her way to work, decided to approach him. She had always been curious about the little puppy and wondered why he didn't seem to have a home or a family. When Clara knelt down to offer him a piece of bread, the dog responded with cautious excitement, sniffing at the food but then looking back down the road as if distracted. Clara's heart melted when she saw the puppy's longing gaze. Poor thing, she whispered to herself, her mind racing with questions. What could he possibly be waiting for? She visited the bus stop every day after that, observing the puppy's behavior, hoping to find out more. Every time she passed by, she would see the same thing, the little dog patiently waiting. He never ran toward anyone offering food and he didn't bark at passing cars. He simply sat, his eyes fixed on the road, and waited. Then, one rainy afternoon, Clara decided to spend some time sitting at the bus stop, hoping to get closer to understanding why the dog was always there. She brought her umbrella with her, hoping to shield herself from the downpour, but the puppy seemed unfazed by the rain. He sat, wet and cold, staring at the horizon, waiting for something. As Clara watched, something unexpected happened. A bus pulled up at the stop, and the little puppy suddenly stood up, his tail wagging slightly as the doors opened. Clara thought she saw a flicker of recognition in his eyes. For a brief moment she thought the puppy might have been waiting for a specific person, someone who would step off the bus and greet him. But as the passengers disembarked, there was no sign of anyone coming for the dog. He sat back down, his tail drooping, and returned to his vigilant watch. Clara was puzzled. Who could this puppy be waiting for? And why had he been doing this for so long? The next day, Clara decided to visit the bus stop earlier, hoping to learn more about the puppy's routine. As she arrived, she saw the same familiar sight, the dog sitting on the curb, gazing intently down the road. She sat down beside him, and for the first time, the puppy allowed her to pet him, his soft fur soaking up the raindrops. Clara's heart ached as she wondered what had happened to this little animal. How had he ended up here all alone with no one to care for him? Clara's curiosity grew, and after a few more days of visiting the puppy at the bus stop, she decided to reach out to a local animal rescue organization. They had worked with abandoned animals before, and she hoped they could provide some answers. The rescue team arrived at the bus stop shortly after she contacted them and started to examine the puppy. He was clearly well-fed, which suggested that he had a source of food nearby, but his behavior was unlike any stray dog they had ever seen. The rescue worker, an experienced animal behaviorist named Mark, was intrigued by the dog's unusual habits. "I've seen stray dogs before," Mark said as he crouched down to get a better look at the puppy. "But this one's different. There's something about the way he waits. It's like he's expecting someone." Clara nodded, agreeing with Mark's assessment. "I've been coming here every day and I've never seen him act like other stray dogs. He doesn't beg or approach people. He just waits." Mark took out a camera and began to take some pictures of the puppy. He studied the dog for a few more moments, then said, "I think we need to look into this further. Let's take him to the shelter for now and see if we can uncover any more details. We may be dealing with a case of abandonment or something more complicated." The rescue team took the puppy into their care, and Clara helped by spreading the word on social media, asking if anyone in the area had seen the dog before. To her surprise, people started responding with information. A few days later, Clara received a message that made her heart stop. A woman named Sarah, who lived just a few blocks away, claimed to have recognized the puppy. "I know him," Sarah's message read. "That's Max. He used to belong to my neighbor, but they moved away a few months ago. They left him behind when they left town. I tried to take him in, but he wouldn't stay. He's been waiting at that bus stop ever since." Clara was shocked by the revelation. Max, the puppy, had been abandoned by his previous owners, left to fend for himself. The owners had moved away without a second thought, leaving Max with nothing but the memory of their presence. It was heartbreaking, but it explained so much about his behavior. Max wasn't just waiting for anyone. He was waiting for his owners, the people who had once cared for him, even if they no longer wanted him. The rescue team now understood Max's story. His waiting at the bus stop was his way of holding on to hope, clinging to the belief that his owners would return for him. Every day without fail he would sit at that bus stop watching for the bus that might bring them back. It was a heartbreaking display of loyalty, the kind of devotion that only a dog could show. After learning the truth, Clara made it her mission to help Max find a new, loving home. She reached out to the community, organizing adoption events and spreading awareness about his heartbreaking story. Max's tale touched the hearts of many people, and soon a family came forward, offering to adopt him and give him the love and care he deserved. Max's story didn't end at the bus stop. After being adopted into a new family, he became a symbol of resilience and unwavering loyalty. But it was his time spent waiting that would forever mark him as a symbol of hope. His actions at the bus stop reminded everyone who knew his story of the power of love, loyalty, and the unbreakable bond between a dog and its owner. Max, the puppy who had waited so patiently every day, found his new home, and while the bus stop would no longer be his daily post, his story would live on as a testament to the loyalty and love that animals are capable of, no matter how much they've been hurt. Max's new family showered him with affection, and while they never replaced the ones who had abandoned him, they made sure he never had to wait alone again. His days of sitting at the bus stop became nothing more than a memory, a symbol of the love he had lost but would ultimately find again. Max's story not only served as a reminder of the importance of caring for animals but also as a call for responsible pet ownership. It taught the community that animals have emotions, and they can suffer deeply from abandonment. But, in the end, it was also a story of redemption, of finding a new chance at love and happiness.